After the rectilinear motion, let us go ahead with the next topic called as the projectile. Now when we talk of the projectile as such, then the projectile is going to be an object which is thrown freely such that it will be acted upon only by the gravitational acceleration, though it is not thrown in the vertical direction. It could be the case that the object is thrown, say, from the top of some building. The object is thrown from the top of some building. Only thing is, it will now make some angle. It is not thrown vertically up. So the object will travel in this manner before it hits the ground. So we will be knowing the initial velocity. We might be knowing the angle with which it is thrown. This is called as the trajectory of it. What we were considering earlier, that was it is thrown up vertically and it is going to fall down. Now it is not necessary that we should be always throwing it up. We can just throw it with the horizontal velocity also, and it might fall somewhere over here. Or we might increase the angle with which it is thrown, and it might hit some other point which will be ahead. And if we still increase the angle, then probably it will be going in this manner and will be falling much closer than the earlier cases. So these are the different cases which we will come across. If we still increase the angle, it might go like this and will hit the ground. And then at one point it will just go up and come down. This is the extreme case that we have already considered. What is remaining is the case when it is thrown with some angle alpha, and dependent on alpha, how this distance is changing. This is the consideration. And how the velocity of that particular particle will be changing when it is moving in the air as such. Now such a particle is called as a projectile, and to give the consideration for the velocity, the change in the velocity, we will have to have a closer look at this particular situation. Now instead of keeping the object at some height in the initial case, we might think of putting the object initially also on the ground and is thrown with some velocity, say u, at an angle alpha with the ground. So it moves in this manner and will hit the ground. So let us consider or start with the first case. Now this velocity is going to have two components, that is the vertical velocity, vertical component, and the horizontal component. Horizontal component obviously will be u cos alpha, and vertical component initially will be u sin alpha. Now if we consider any intermediate point, then the velocity is always going to be tangential to the path. And suppose this angle is some other angle alpha 1 and the velocity is u1, then you will again find out the horizontal component and the vertical component of it. Now if we consider the topmost point, then at that time it is having only the horizontal velocity. And then if we consider some point over here, then horizontal component is still towards right, whereas vertical component is downward. And then when it hits the ground, even at that time, we can calculate the velocity, its horizontal component as well as its vertical component.